Hello, everyone, and welcome to Claret and Booze. My name's Nick, and this is my daily ramble. I hope you're all well. As always, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and drop a like on the video for us, please, because it does really help us. Now, before we go anywhere, as you know, we're sponsored by the Kent and Sussex Tea and Coffee Company. They're a great place. You'll find their website in the description of the video. Go to that website, place your order. All sorts of tea and coffee in there, whether you like your beans, your ground coffee, tea leaves, tea bags, much cheaper than what you get from the supermarket, and much better. Go in there, place your order, use a discount code Claret15, and away you go. Nice juicy discount, 15% off. Right, what we're going to talk about today? Well, we're going to touch on Freiburg in a bit, or Freiburg, on Thursday night. But before we get there, I'm going to talk about Jarrod Bowen, because some news has broken on the deal with Jarrod Bowen. But before we get there, I just want to say thank you to everyone for the lovely comments on last night's video, my reaction to another bout of people just trying to it ain't just me. I mean, the thing is, it's not people trying to shut me down. It's just a reflection of West Ham society at the minute. There's loads of people being censored and shut down all the time. I've just had enough of it. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. So, with all due respect, that's going to be my reaction now. I'm not going to piss and moan and cry about it. I'm just going to do a reaction video with anything like that, and I'm just going to shame people, to be honest, that are attempting to shame me. I think it's the only way to do it. It's the only way to deal with it. Fight fire with fire. So, thank you very much, everyone, for for your support. It was some of the channels out there as well sort of really came out with messages of support as well, personal messages, and that means a lot as well. So thanks, guys. Appreciated that. Right now, Jarrod Bowen. As you all know, we got fed information about Jarrod Bowen from the agent side a few months ago, and then we had it clarified about a month back because we just wanted to know what was going on with the deal because he still hadn't signed it. And as you know, the story that we got from the agent way back then was that Jarrod Bowen, although he loves West Ham and he respects David Moyes, he feels like he's hit his ceiling at West Ham and he wants to move on. You know, he wants to dip his toes in the water elsewhere to see how far he can push himself to play for a progressive manager is a word that was used, but I'm trying to avoid demonising and using this to attack David Moyes because that was a word that was used to us, but I'm going to try not to take that tack. So I'm changing the story a little bit. I'm going to say he wants to go elsewhere to play progressive football. That's what he wanted because he feels that a different style will better showcase his talents. That is what was told to us, okay? And they said in no uncertain terms is he going to sign a deal. Well, like I said, we got that clarified again about a month ago, and that was when we spoke about Kudus. Is Kudus the replacement for Bowen? You know, could he be the replacement for Bowen? He plays in the same position. And in the last few weeks, the club have been going into overdrive, saying that we're very close and we're very hopeful that we're going to reach a deal with Jarrod Bowen. Now, look, that's fantastic news. I thought, well, look, that's great. We don't want to lose Bowen. So something's happened. They've the impasse has been overcome, and whether it's money, they've reached an agreement. Whatever it is, they're happy he's going to sign. Well, that hasn't been the case. It's been a bit of a charm offensive from all sides. We've had Jarrod Bowen coming out in post-match interviews and doing other little pieces, with West Ham media, sort of ploughing the club with love and saying how much he loves it and how much he loves David Moyes and this, that, the other. But the fact of the matter is, he's not signing a contract. He's not. Are they negotiating? They have negotiated every time, but they've reached an impasse. And basically, I knew the last time that he was offered a contract that he was already offered to be made West Ham's highest paid player. I thought that's got to be enough for Bowen, surely, innit? To be offered more than Lucas Paqueta in the team. You'd sign that. Why wouldn't you? So I don't think it's money. I thought it ain't money. So I wanted to know what it was about the negotiations this time. What have we offered him? What has he turned down? What's he asking for? And after I did that community post that you probably will have all saw last night, I got a bit of information. And it was something that I hadn't considered. But apparently, the stumbling block isn't money. He's now saying that he will sign a contract. He's saying, you can give me more money, but I want a minimum fee release clause. Now, I thought, my initial reaction was, what's wrong with that? Stick 100 million release clause in there. There's nothing wrong with that. Just do it. We keep our player. I thought to myself, no one's really going to come in for 100 million with Bowen, are they? Job done. But I was like, no, lower. I was like, what, 80? Lower. 70? 60? Lower. So I'm assuming, because the last figure hasn't been clarified yet, I'm assuming it's 50 million that they're demanding is inserted as a minimum fee release clause into Jared Bowen's contract. So I'm assuming he wants to be made, if he stays, he wants to be made West Ham's highest paid player with a £50 million release clause, which is lower than we would ask for him now. Because the club came out via their favourite sources just now, or last night, Claret and Hugh, if you want to go and search it up, and regardless of what you want to say about Hugh Southend, he has got a link in with David Sullivan. They do it. That is who, him and Sean Whetstone, that's who they go to when they want to get their stories pushed out. And this time they're saying that basically, you can go and search it up, we may be forced to sell Jared Bowen sooner rather than later if he doesn't sign a contract. And they say within the next 9 months. That's what they're saying. But it's not going to be 9 months because he's only got 2 years left on his contract, 18 months come January. So if we're going to sell him and we're going to want to maximise our return, because the magic number that they spoke about in this article was 75 million. 75 million is a magic number. Well, if you want to have any chance of getting anywhere near that, you can't let him run into his last 12 months in the summer because no one's paying anywhere near that. You've got to go 18 million. You've got to go 18 months. You've got to go in January. So that would mean us selling him in January if he doesn't sign his new deal. Now, I've got to be honest. I don't know. My reaction to this now, because look, I don't blame him. I don't blame him wanting to play for a more progressive manager. I don't blame any attacking player because there are constraints in the way that we play. And as well as Jared Bowen does, he spends most of his time back covering Soufal, and he still manages to get the assists and the goals that he gets. It's impressive. So you think to yourself, and he probably thinks to himself, imagine what I could do. Imagine what I could do for Liverpool, who we know are interested in him. But I'll be honest with you, he's a lot of you are going to disagree with me now, and because I kind of had a change of heart on this. Bearing in mind, I'm contradicting myself now, because on the Sunday night show, I came out when all of you went, oh, I'd take Saka over Bowen. And I went, no. Can't be doing that. Bowen's better than Saka. Imagine what Bowen would do in the Arsenal team. But Bowen is a player he thrives with Moyes ball. I think he's a basic player. I think he's an excellent player, a wonderful player. But I think he's basic. He's a workhorse, he's a grafter, and he's a direct runner. And I just think he suits Moyes ball in the same way, but different, because it's a different position to the way that it suits Antonio. I don't think Antonio would flourish in a different style. I'm not saying that Bowen would be a flop, but what I'm saying is if Bowen went to Liverpool, I could see Jared Bowen being more in the profile of a Shaqiri than a Mo Salah, is what I'm trying to say. I think he would end up being a backup to a superstar. That would be my worry for him as a player. And it would be. I think I'm actually going to say it. I think even if David Moyes was to stay at West Ham, I think that's even more reason for Jared Bowen to want to stay, because I think he's suited to I think he excels. I think, if anything, maybe this style of football does get the best out of Jared Bowen. I think it does. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, we are in this situation now. There's been several contracts submitted to Jared Bowen and his intermediaries, and they've reached an impasse every single time. And as it's been revealed, the impasse is they want that get out clause. As soon as anyone comes in, 50 million, I'm off. So how do you feel about that? What would you do? I don't think that Sullivan's ever going to sign off on that, because, like I said, 50 million is lower than our valuation of that player. It would have to be the very minimum what we value that player. I mean, we know that as of the summer, Lucas Paqueta has got, an 80 million, 85 million release clause in his contract? I mean, that looked good when we signed him, but it don't look good now, does it? It looks fucking cheap. That should have been over 100 million. Someone's going to get a bargain from Lucas Paqueta in the summer. It's just the way it is. So what do you do? I don't know. Would you sell him in January? Would you give him his new contract? Or would you say, do you know what? No, bollocks. We'll let you run your contract down. 18 months. You're going to score us goals. We're in all these competitions. We want to win trophies. I'm sorry, Jared, but we can't allow that to happen. We can't allow the club to be out of pocket. We can't do that. We'd be signing up to shoot ourselves in the foot, effectively. Or am I being harsh? Do you think Jared Bowen's earned it? Do you think he's earned the right to have the ability to move on if the right club come along and put the money down for him? It gives him the opportunity to leave without us standing in his way. Do you think he's earned the right for that? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about it. One thing I do know is I don't feel as panicky about this one as what I did about the Declan Rice one. I don't know why, because Jarrod Bowen's an incredibly important player. But when you look at the fact that we've got Mohamed Kudus now, who can play out on that side, I think we've got a ready-made replacement. We don't know whether he will be as good. He could be better. We don't know. But we do have a ready-made replacement if Jarrod Bowen does move on. So what would your thoughts be on that? If he doesn't sign a contract in January, I think and you want to sell him, I think you've got to sell him in January. I don't think you can leave it till the summer, because with 12 months left, he's either going to run his contract down or we're going to have to sell him for a cut price, 30, 40 million. So what do you do? What do you do? It's a hard one, that, isn't it? It's a hard one. But for me, what I would say is, Jarrod, stop being silly. If we're offering you big money, I think you should sign the deal and don't be greedy with the minimum free release clause, because you're marrying into a West Ham family. You know, your missus is happy down here as well. I doubt very much they're going to want to move up to Liverpool. You know, Danny's not going to. So I think you're in a good place at the moment. You're in a good place. You need to have a little think about things. Yeah, I don't want to see him move on, but I don't know how I feel about it at the moment. Like I said, I wouldn't, providing we got a good fee for him, I wouldn't be heartbroken if he went, providing we got the right replacements. And having said that, I think we've already got one with Kudus. So yeah, I don't know. But that is a big news story that's ever evolving. Let me know your thoughts on that. Right, we're off to Germany. We're off to Germany. Big game. As we know, we haven't got any fans. There's no fans going over there, which is going to make it very difficult for our players, because we've all seen firsthand, you know, with Frankfurt and even Leverkusen pre-season, they're so well supported, these teams, and we haven't done anyway, have we? You know, if you use Frankfurt and Leverkusen as an example, we don't do well against German teams. Freiburg are a good team as well, a very good team. Nonetheless, I think we're going to do them. I do think we're going to beat them. I don't think we're going to see mass changes. I wouldn't be surprised if we see exactly the same team, barring Areola and coming out for Fabianski. I think Fabs will be in. I don't think there'll be too many more changes. You might see one or two outfield players shifted, but I think that he will want to go out there with his players that are in form, or that he feels are in form, to try and get this win over the line. I mean, I know we've got Newcastle a couple of days later, but then again, Newcastle play on Wednesday night. They play PSG, so they've also got, they get an extra day's rest, but they've also got other things on their mind as well. So what would your main focus be, though? I think my main focus would be the European game in this instance. I think we need to get the points on the board early doors. We wasn't too convincing against TSC. I think we're going to have to put out a very, very strong team against Freiburg to get over the line. I'd like to see Kudus start. I would like to see him start, and he might do. This is a game where I think he might start. So hopefully we do see him and Mavropanos. I'd like to see those two come in. I think that would be. So I think the three players that I think that could come in, I don't know what players will go out, but I think we'll see Kudus, Mavropanos and Fabianski come in, and I think, the rest of them will be players that have played against Sheffield United, Liverpool, Man City. I think that's going to be the way that we do it. I just think we need to get it over the line. It's going to be difficult. Like I said, the players are going to feel very alone, very isolated, and probably a very hostile arena. So let's just hope that we can get it done, get the job done, and I think we will, because we are good in Europe. We're brilliant in Europe. But then if you fast forward to Sunday, I'm not looking forward to that one at all. That's the 2:00 kickoff just before our 2-year anniversary. Just before our 2-year anniversary, that is. So that's gonna dictate the mood. Well, it won't. We're gonna have a laugh on that show anyway. It's gonna be a bit of a marathon, by the way. Probably about 3 hours, 4 hours. Going to be rolling people on and off. So yeah, will be a good show. But Newcastle, I'm not looking forward to. I'm not. I hope to be proven wrong, but I do see a defeat in this one, and not a nice defeat either. But again, I hope to be proven wrong. But we shall see. But anyway, look, let me know what your thoughts are on all the topics that we've discussed today, please, in the comments. That'd be very good. And like I said before, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe. Drop a like on that video, and I will see you again soon. What? Cover your heads.